was the biggest fan of the Beatles. And she's like, Mom, do you know the Beatles stole the Bee Gees' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band album? And I'm like, oh, no, I've made a big musical mistake. I'm like, all right, kids, sit down.
Sit down. We got to sit down.
Now, the Beatles actually came first. And they're like, but it's like they stole their whole movie. And I'm like, oh, no. I was like, oh, no, what have I done?
Yeah, you ruined it all. That's for sure. So, and a side note, Coach Quigley says, breaking news, Carter, i.e. crawling. Let me tell you,
Flippy McFlipperson.
I know, last night,
Sir Flippy McFlipperson.
He was hilarious.
And
last night.
he was coaching himself.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean,
did you notice? I'm sure you've noticed that.
Yeah.
He's like, and he said something, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's going, he's rolling, and then he get over, then he's like, and the ba and it's like he's like, okay, remember, do your torque this way.
I mean, he was pretty darn hilarious. I tell you what. So I took a video. Somebody had told me, taking pictures is great, but don't miss out on taking videos.
Oh, especially now that it's so easy. There's so many little moments like you're capturing that I wish I would have captured when the kids were little bitty, but it was only like if the grandparents brought the video camera over.
So he was pretty darn stinking hilarious last night. And he just kept wanting to talk and move and talk and move. Yeah, I mean, it just... And he was all over the playpen last night. I mean, he was moving and shaking and moving and shaking. And circles
like in 1 minute video, I think he hit 3 corners out of the 4. I was like, look at you moving all around, covering all your ground.
Oh, I mean, it was something else.
Oh, and he's so cute. It's so fun because, like, if I'm in a bad mood or something comes across and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I need a Carter pic. I need a Carter video because you can't be in a bad mood after watching this child.
I mean, and he is so much fun. But he just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked, and I'm like, we had a great time. We had a great and I talked to him like a grown up, right?
Yeah.
So because again, I'm planting all these words into that growing brain of his.
I mean, I was doing SAT words when the kids were in utero. It's like you can never start too early.
You really can't.
We're going to pontificate upon which pajamas we're putting on this morning.
So that was the Carter update. And of course, it went out so late because it's just, I have had so much going on.
Well, yeah, because you're still waiting to move into your main house on your farmland.
I'm homeless.
And so you're hotel living right now, and but your dad's already
in the barn dominium.
in his barn dominium. So you've got a couple of residents right now, one under construction, but you're still having to take care of all the yard and everything. So it's
it's something
you've
fun.
Got your hands full.
Tell me about it. And we've got horses moving in.
Oh, yippee.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait to see them. Yeah.
We got horses moving in.
Oh, that's exciting.
So, back to the State Fair of Texas. That was a side note. So the Chevrolet main stage is going to be packed. The Powell brothers, I have heard them.
When does the fair start this year?
It starts September 24th.
Wow. So it's going to be here before I can't wait. Oh,
yes.
I'm so excited.
And again, I don't see the advantage of buying premium tickets.
That's a new thing.
But I don't
maybe there's some benefit to it. I don't. The thing is, I was talking to Emily's boyfriend the other night. He's not from the Dallas area. He's from Texas, but he's never been to the State Fair of Texas. And so Emily's like, oh, I can't wait. He's going to lose his mind. And he kept saying, well, and he kept thinking, isn't there some kind of thing that we can do like a season pass for Six Flags? Because they have a season pass for Six Flags. And I was like, here's the thing, getting into the fair is not expensive. It's once you get in, because those coupons are ridiculously expensive, and you need like 9 bajillion just to get one corn dog or one fried something or to ride one ride.
50 cents a piece, I think.
It's expensive.
13 tickets for a corn dog.
Yeah, I think like riding the swings, which I love to ride, is like 20 tickets or something. At some point, if you start adding it up, it's like, oh, that's a lot of money. And then you have to buy a separate coupon to play the games on the midway.
See, and I don't do any of that.
Don't do any of the games. See,
I don't. I used to, and it's
we
like, where do I put these stuffed
but
animals?
we had a limit. And then it became so. Then the kids were like, well, the $20 we were going to have to do games, is that $20 cash I could get when we leave the fair? And I'm like, well, I guess so. I was like, sure, negotiators. But have you ever won any of those big stuffed animals?
Yes.
Yeah, and those are fun.
Yeah, but where do you put it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I've got Gizmo from a few years ago, and he's propped up on the back of my
The
headboard.
best thing I ever won was, and now it just left in my head because you said Gizmo, was, oh my goodness. And I even had a sweatshirt with him on it. It was the green guy. And he wasn't really a guy. He looked like an exclamation point or an eye. He was green.
Not Gumby.
Yeah, Gumby. That's
Gumby.
exactly who it is.
Oh, Gumby.
Yeah, I had won a Gumby.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I still have that.
Oh, that's greatness.
Yeah,
I
still have that.
think I sent you pictures the year CJ dressed up like Gumby for Halloween. And I took pictures of him because he drove in that costume in the car with me to his friend's house where he's going trick-or-treating. And literally on the road, people are like, they're like, do, 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 do. And they're like, it's Gumby. And they're just like freaking out. It's Gumby. Look, CJ's all... That's too fun.
Talking about COVID, Kathy, and really we need to talk about this because it is the headliner of the news.
Well,
which is students having to wear masks.
Yes.
Going back to school. Where's the science?
There's a socially distanced sign. Did you notice that in this building today? There's a practice social distancing sign that I haven't seen. I don't know, in forever. So
I got an email though. I got an email that said behave.
Behave.
Yeah, pretty
JP,
much.
Behave.
Behave. So how about this?
How many times did your mom have to tell you that over the years?
1,005,000.
A bajillion and 5,000.
Yeah. How about this? How about let's pay attention to COVID. Wear masks unless you're Barack Obama having a birthday party at Martha's Vineyard, and nobody's wearing a mask at this star-studded event. And guess what? You ready for this? This is what's interesting. So a New York Times reporter justified on CNN Obama's huge maskless birthday bash because he only invited a sophisticated, vaccinated crowd.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yes. What happened to all the concerns about the vaccinated people passing Delta to the unvaccinated? Not at this party. And again, the explanation is, well, I only invited, and Barack Obama said it from the podium, I only invited sophisticated people to my party. So I guess if you are part of the elite stupid, I mean, physically fit, can't get your head out of your butt, I mean, you're Barack Obama's friends, then it's okay for you not to wear your mask.
And then, Jennifer Aniston, there's some big thing, I guess she's catching flack because she has decluttered her circle of friends. Anybody who doesn't have the vaccination is now no longer allowed to be hanging around her. And I've always loved Jennifer Aniston, so I saw that and I was like, I thought you were nice. But anyways, and I get that. I mean, I can understand, if you don't choose to hang around certain people because they're not vaccinated, that's one thing. But to make a big public thing about it, again, I just think that's kind of shaming people. And here's the deal now. I don't have the article pulled up, but the CDC came out the other day and said now even with the mask or with the vaccine, you still need to wear a mask. It's like every single day there's something new, different, or you've got people who 2 days ago were saying the same thing. Now they're conflicting reports. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's, what do you believe? And then one of the members of the crew sent me a text last night and she said, I'm trying to figure out, is this just to scare kids and teachers as they're going back to school and to kind of put everybody back in their place by putting the fear of God in them with wondering if the kids, the teachers, are going to be safe. All of a sudden you've got parents worrying. I don't know what the answer is. It's like sometimes you feel like what's real in this world we're living in today. Do you ever get like just a very surreal zombie apocalypse feeling like, okay, I just heard the opposite of that yesterday. What do I believe?
Well, here's the thing, right? The thing is that everything has become editorialized. There is no more Tom Brokaw. There is no more I sadly to say, I'm even going to say this, Dan Rathers. There's no more Howard Cosell's in sports. Now even ESPN. I don't even watch ESPN. I don't even listen to ESPN sports anymore.
I have no idea when the last time was I saw it.
Because they've become extremely politicized. The last time I watched it was when Mike and Mike in the Morning was still a thing. And that's been a thing
gone
in
for a while.
time.
Okay.
But, there's no more just regular news. It's all editorialized on both sides. And to find regular news, good luck. And what's funny is even print news has now gone to taking sides and using language that is inflammatory. I was reading The Guardian. Of course, that's across the pond.
Yeah.
But, I mean, goodness gracious, extremely inflammatory language towards Republicans and conservatives. And I'm sure on the other side as well when you read Politico. But the bottom line is this, is that we are in an era where we are supposedly more educated, more informed than we have ever been. And I feel like we need to name this era the age of ignorance, because it's the stuff that's just coming out of people, the stuff that's coming out on social media. It just blows me away, the type of commentary. A friend of mine got into a debate with several people. She is not opposed to vaccinations. Her kids have been vaccinated. She has not gotten the vaccination because she's waiting for the FDA to approve it. This thing had been rushed through, and she's concerned.
But she felt okay with her kids getting it.
No,
Oh,
not
no,
COVID,
they have not.
regular vaccinations.
Oh, regular. Okay, gotcha.
Regular vaccinations.
Gotcha.
And her comment was, as soon as the FDA approves this, I'll be first in line to get my shots. But until then, I'm waiting to see what's coming out. She also pointed out how it's interesting that the NIH does not put any statistics or findings on what damage the vaccinations have caused, how many deaths have been caused. And so she's like, I'm not going to do it. People went nuts. And I'm like,
were they just attacking her and
yeah.
shaming her?
Oh, yeah. And I'm like, are you people doctors? I mean, no.
And
it's
are you scientists? And then there are scientists out there putting stuff out there that's not fact. Like, I always thought if you're a scientist, you're only going to, if something's a hypothesis, you're going to be like, you know what, this is what I'm assuming, or this is my best educated guess. Okay. But you've got scientists who are saying this is the hardcore fact, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 weeks later, they're retracting what they said because they're not officially doing that, but they're saying something different. So what is the truth?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right.
Did you step up and defend her or send her a message and say, I'm so sorry you're getting attacked?
Well, I told her, I said, look, you make good arguments. They're not listening. They don't hear you saying once the FDA passes this thing or approves it, and they're not hearing you say, they're not putting out any of the statistics on when it's gone bad. How often has it gone bad? We know that the Johnson & Johnson variant, or not variant, but a vaccine, caused death, caused heart issues amongst a small group. But that's only because Johnson & Johnson released that information. And so, again, and she's like, why isn't the NIH covering all of what's going on with the vaccination? So very, very interesting on what's going on out there. Will your children need to wear a mask when they go to school? I do recommend
some schools are starting this week.
Well, some started last week. Garland started last week.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Healthychildren.org. Of course, in the state of Texas, you will not be forced to wear a mask. We do have more and more friends that are being told by their employers that you will not have a job if you don't get vaccinated. And so we've
got a friend who we're helping his wife, who's a nurse right now, get their information to the top of the food chain. I think there are so many unknown factors. You can't force anybody. Colonel Allen West was on a couple of shows the other day talking about the military forcing vaccines. And he's like, these are some of the healthiest people. Let this be their choice. And I guess it's the mandating of it. I go back, and again, I'm not dismissing. Yes, COVID is real. Heck, I've got a girlfriend of mine from, back in my young Republican days. I've known her for years and years and years. And she had COVID in March, then got vaccinated in May, and now she's got COVID again. She was supposed to go to Boston last week for a family get-together, and she's like, can't go, just tested positive for COVID again. And then I've got a guy friend out of Houston, another old wire friend of mine. He had COVID, vaccination, just had COVID again, I think in either June or July. And so what is legit? I don't think we know. I think there's too many unknowns to say For sure. I think it's every week. It's kind of like Dr. Clothier comes on and talks about it's your best educated guess. It's working with your healthcare provider, making the best decision for your family. Well, Brandy Braley, who was on our show Friday, a two-year in a row Teacher of the Year winner from Legacy, great volunteer opportunity she talked about. And she had been exposed. So she, I told her, hey, she said, I can come in studio Friday. I should get my results back today. And I said, if you don't mind, because, I'm taking my mom to multiple doctor's appointments. Her immune system is compromised. Are you okay with just doing a Zoom link? And she was like, oh, yeah, no problem at all. Because she understands I take care of my mom and drive my mom to a lot of places. And so what? No argument. And she's like, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll just I'll Zoom in. No, and so I don't understand why everybody can't conduct themselves like, hey, I've got this unique situation, or hey, I've been exposed. What are your thoughts? It's sad. It's really sad how cruel people can be. And people on social media, JP, that are friends supposedly of that person.
Right.
Piling on.
Well, this happened to this other friend of mine. So here's the thing, right? This is what we need to diagnose. At what point in time do people finally get sick and tired of this and they take care of it at the ballot box? Because that's how you fix this,
Yep.
right? Will we see a big shift in the state of Virginia?
2022.
Kathy in the background, 2022.
Yes.
I don't see Governor Abbott reversing his decision to say that now we have to go back to mandatory masks. I did say this from a long time ago, that there will find a different way. Jumpin' Joe, Uncle tax you out of your house, Biden, will find a new way to create a secondary pandemic where he's going to start looking at shutting things down. It's become so bad with Florida that Ron DeSantis is now being called the Delta variant champion. Oh, it's hilarious.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because it's so funny. There's so Florida, who has been pushing back against the Biden administration now, and I just read something about this morning. Norwegian Cruise Lines, I think it is. It's one of those cruise lines. It has gotten the ability from corporate or whatever to do mandatory masks on the ships that dock out of Florida. So they're trying to get around Florida saying you don't have to have a mask if you're vaccinated, or I think Florida, I think it's your choice, kind of like it is here in Texas right now. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. So now you're going to start having, and I wonder, and we talked about this last week, JP, on one of the nights we were up here producing a show together. Is the military, so is Biden, is one of the first things you're going to see, by September, October, Biden telling the military you have to do A, B, and C. And so even if you're not active military, even if you're, like out in another country or whatever, if you're you're a job recruiter, or you work in an office, or you work at the VA, are you going to have rules that you have to follow? And that's going to be a way that Biden circumvents somebody like a Governor Abbott, who's saying, not in my state, people make their own decisions.
Well, and I tell you, he's been very, very careful to not mandate that our military has the vaccine, because I have a funny feeling, and I think he knows this, that a lot of the folks in the military will say, then I want out. And I think he's got to offer that.
Well, there's something's got, because they like I said, West was, and maybe it's just the speculation of, hey, are we going to go ahead and require this of the military? But Colonel West was interviewed on a number of shows last week talking about, Biden does not need to go down this route. I think it's very interesting. You're right. At some point, it's kind of like the police officers who are like, you're going to defund us? Okay, good luck to you. Crime's through the roof. At some point, you have to realize we need. What was one of Reagan's slogans was, peace through strength, or something like that. I'm trying to remember his exact slogan. Basically, you've got to have a strong military, strong law enforcement, strong, first responders, in order for everybody to just operate and go about their daily life. So you don't want, when you take Carter out to the park, and you're taking him on a little nature walk, you don't want to worry about a bomb dropping on your head. You want to
Right.
be able, you're in America, you should be able to take your child and go out and about and not have to worry about something major like that. I don't know. It's heartbreaking that we're annihilating and we're just dismissing military and law enforcement and first responders. I just, I find that heartbreaking, you know?
Well, I'll tell you, it is going to be very interesting as we get closer to the midterm elections
Oh, yes.
on how this thing
You are correct,
swings.
sir. Yep.
And I think that Biden knows that if he makes a military mandate for vaccinations, that every Democrat in the House will be voted out.
I mean, I think it would be
honestly.
overwhelmingly. Like, I think even, seats that are solid Dems, at some point, if he pushes this nonsense as far as, and you know what, who's pushing it? Because I don't think this is, Joe Biden's being handed stuff to say, and he can't even read God bless him, he can't even read the push card that gets put in front of his face. Somebody's making these decisions for him, and it seems like he has got that AOC squad, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, everybody push as far left as possible. Let's get to socialism. Let's get towards communism, and
Chuck Bloomers.
yeah, and it's just so, it's so crazy. But it seems like that's the way they're going, and if they do. Yeah, I'll be, the closer we get to the 2022 elections, those midterm elections will be very telling. It will be all about, does he want to maintain the House and the Senate, or is he just going to push it while he can? And then I think you're going to have people who don't vote, or people who were mad at Trump for whatever reason and didn't vote for him for president. I think you're going to have those people go, oh wait, when is that midterm election? Maybe never. They've never voted in a midterm election,
Right.
and they're going to be like, you know what? We're changing out every D for an R.
Well, come Wednesday, want to sit and visit about Afghanistan. I don't know that if you have noticed, but they have changed out democracy and a republic form of government for the Taliban again. The Taliban is on a mad rush. I have been saying this for the last couple days.
You've said this they've been in a rebuild mode for a while.
Yeah, and we allowed it, and to the point now where, why were we even over there? American lives were lost. We sacrificed, and for what? For the Taliban to come marching right through. They took over the capital of Kunduz, which is right on the Tajikistan border, and the Taliban are moving towards Kabul. And so,
yeah.
And what's sad is, what I'm concerned about is all of the technology, all of the intelligence technology, all of the vehicles. Evidently, we didn't teach these guys that before you leave a post, you burn it down to the ground, because there are weapons, vehicles, computers, software.
Well, it's all leads to Intel.
Intel. It's all intact.
Yeah, and it's
so
it's
now
Intel.
the Taliban has all that.
That's
So
frightening.
we're going to talk more about that.
Well, let's get
on Wednesday.
Let's see if we can get Congressman Taylor to chime in with you, on that as
on
well.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
yeah.
I want to talk to Congressman Taylor about the $1.1 trillion.
Infrastructure.
Yeah,
Oh,
we need to talk about that.
Good night.
I mean, we need to fire up.
The more you dig back those layers of that onion, JP, it's just a big old blue. You know what I'm saying? Storm.
Right. I want to get a electronic copy of the bill, and I want to read the bill, because if what they're saying is
because
in
you
it,
obviously have nothing else to do.
Well,
no, but I mean,
American freedom is
it's at risk,
here.
you can speculate all day, but you're right. If you get a copy of
I
that,
want
to read over that too,
because there's stuff in there.
We're so fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's stuff in there that is no taco bueno.
There is, and I think the more they reveal about that bill, I think it's going to be harder. And again, this is one of those things. This is something that the Dems who vote in support of this, and the more negative that comes out about it, the more you are going to have people not vote for that Dem, because this is something that actually, you hear infrastructure and most people are like, unless you're like a political junkie like us. And but I've noticed this is a big talking point on social media. I think people are just trying to educate themselves and become more aware. And so I do think you're going to have more people turn out at that midterm election.
I hope so, because this is becoming a scary deal. We need to replace some other Republicans in the Senate for deciding that they're going to support this $1.1 trillion disaster. Again, I want it so I can read it so we can talk about it intelligently, and I'd like to hear Congressman Taylor's take on it as well.
Good,
so
good
before we
thinking.
walk out the door, of course, the Olympics has got a lot going on.
Closing
and-
ceremonies were last night.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I know because my mom called me.
I didn't have to pay
She was
attention.
watching it, so. And did you see Coach Quigley had a couple of announcements? Joe Buck,
Yes,
sportscaster, he is actually hosting Jeopardy.
I made a comment.
So congratulations to him. And then also Marky Post, who I loved, who was on Night Court. Remember the cute blonde?
Yeah, passed.
She passed away from cancer. I was really sorry to hear that. I know she'd battled cancer on and off for a while, if I'm remembering correctly. And I loved that show. I thought it was one of the funniest shows on TV back in the day, and just loved her. Thought she was the cutest thing in the world. So may she rest in peace as well.
So, but I'm going to send you out with this. I'm going to send you out with the number one, take her downtown, Victoria's Secret's model, Megan Rapinoe. That's
we
right.
Were
when you think
such a
when you think Victoria's
morning.
Secret, you think Megan Rapinoe.
No, I think like Giselle, and I think Tyra Banks. I think all the angels. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Megan Rapinoe at all. But check this out. Yeah, you ready for this? Subway has said, we are fed up with Megan Rapinoe's TV ads. The franchisees want to see her gone.
Oh, is she doing Subway commercials?
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
only
the
see the Serena Williams
franchisees
ones.
say we want her out. We don't want her in. After she kicked up another round of controversy at the Tokyo Olympics, a large group of Subway franchisees are pressuring the fast food giant to give her the boot. The 36-year-old purple-haired soccer idiot who kneeled during the
and
national
no offense to people who play soccer or who have purple hair or who are idiots.
Well,
yes,
I think who are
no
idiots.
offense. No.
I'm afraid of offending the idiots. Who kneeled during the national anthem to kick off the Tokyo Olympics. The United States won a bronze medal this week and began a stint as a pitchwoman for the fast food giant. Guess what? Too vocal for these folks. They're like, it's hurting our business.
Yeah, well, like my husband and I, we're big Subway fans. I didn't realize she was one of their spokespeople. I would have not had a Subway this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Right. Well, it's saying they're hurting their business and they're tired of her ads and they want her gone.
Interesting.
Yeah. So late last month on a discussion forum hosted by the North American Association of Subway Franchisees, a Wisconsin store operator posted a picture of a hand-scrolled note from an irate customer taped to the front door of his shop. Boycott Subway until Subway fires the anti-American Megan Rapinoe, the creep who kneels for our beloved national anthem, the note read. The ad should be pulled and done with, the franchise wrote of the Rapinoe spot. It gets tiring apologizing, you're hearing me right, for her behavior.
Wow.
Yeah, Subway doesn't actually own any of its nearly, you ready for this? Any of them, of its nearly 22,000 locations.
That's a lot of locations.
But and they don't own it.
Well, yeah, 'cause those are individual franchisees who own those. And so they're basically coming together saying, hey, national marketing team, you made a real wrong turn on this one.
Yeah, and we're talking harsh backlash is what they're facing.
There you go.
And so we'll see how much longer that lasts. And I can't believe Victoria's Secrets hasn't been hammered. I mean, she doesn't even look like a model, for God's sakes. I mean,
oh my gosh, but JP, everybody should look like a model. Yeah, I mean, everybody,
women,
what do you mean?
We talked about this. Women
Come
go to
on.
Victoria, they want to feel sexy.
Victoria's Secret is all about the way it makes a woman feel. I worked there for years. Loved that gig. That was my part-time job in college. I even kept it my first year of teaching. And women walked into that store because they wanted an experience. Again, it was they wanted an escapism.
So Wednesday we'll talk with Congressman Van Taylor. Hello, Kayla.
Do we have another one of our, I know we've got, I think one of our border things because that event's coming up. I think we might have somebody else coming on.
We've got possibly a border thingy-majigger.
And then also for that event.
Thingy-majiggers. It's Doodaddy McJaggers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You changed that.
I am.
You changed
well, it's
that.
time. Thingy-majiggers is so old. We need Doodaddy McJaggers.
There you go.
I love that.
We're freshening it. We're hipstering it up.
We are.
We are. But we
I
also
bet you I can get it in the Urban Dictionary.
Brad Namdar is going to be coming on the show. He literally was just on the border, was able to cross back and forth without a passport. He said he's got such eye-opening stuff, and he wants to reveal it on this show.
But did he have his driver's license?
I don't know.
You can cross the border with your driver's license.
I'll have to ask him. I don't know. He went to some spots. He was taken to some spots where most folks don't go, and pretty jarring.
Well,
pretty jarring.
when we have that conversation, I'll talk about what I experienced sitting in the Harlingen Airport. Well,
you were
Houston
just
Airport
in that neck
going
of the woods
to Harlingen
Friday.
And some of the conversations I had with a lot of the Hispanic families,
yes.
dads, moms in the airport.
Would
Very telling.
love to hear
Well,
that.
you're going to
Would
on
love to
Wednesday
hear
if
that.
we talk
Plus,
about
I mean, because I know you've got a lot of friends who own hotels and restaurants and whatnot down there because of your travels through there over
Benny
the years.
Ochoa and some of my other friends,
You know, it's
the Inverness 1 and 2.
Why aren't people asking the people who actually live there, who are literally this is impacting all of us, but boy howdy, those folks, they're on the front line of defense and without a weapon, and
So,
it's just horrible.
Big Wednesday. Friday we'll talk the Olympics and do a recap of the Olympics. Maybe we can kick Megan Rapinoe out of our country and send her to Chile.
She just, again, if you don't like it here, we'll pack your bags. We'll buy you a suitcase. I saw somebody on social media. They said, like, I'll buy you a suitcase. It's all good.
Yeah. Again, too
Yeah.
bad. Hope I didn't offend any of the idiots in the world. My apologies if I did. And then again, Afghanistan on Wednesday as well. All right. With that, we are JP, Kathy, and the crew, and we are out the door. Have a very blessed Monday. Don't let it be Murphy's Law Monday, but if it is, put a smile on your face and
Amen, brother.
that he's just around the corner. Murphy's Law.
All right. Tune in 10 to 11 today for Heart and Soul of Texas Women. Love y'all.